Bieksa will track it down. He's going to kill the rest of the clock. And for the first time in their history, they'll play a Game 7 of the finals in Vancouver Wednesday night.
Last game of the year, and we got to throw it all out there and make sure we bring the same intensity that we did tonight. And I think if we do that, we'll get hopefully the momentum and go from there.
It's a big game, but when we're in the garage or driveway playing as a kid, when you're fantasizing, you're saying to yourself, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. You're not saying Game 6.
It's the last game of the season. It's every kid's dream to win the Stanley Cup, and that's our ultimate goal, and we want to do it.
This is really what every kid dreams about.
Nathan Horton, he's made the trip here for Game 7. Here he is, squirting water from Boston onto the Vancouver ice.
I think Horton is my one and champion.
Yo, I can't flex anymore. I'm freaking out.
Hockey!
Marchand looking, curls out to the right circle, spins back in deep, feeds it in front, score! Patrice Bergeron on the slot, set up by Marchand, and the Bruins with a 1-0 lead in the first.
They went top shelf where Mama keeps the peanut butter and where I hide the pornos.
Marchand trying to settle it, takes it around the net, wrap around chance, save Luongo, loose puck, score! And the Bruins are up 2-0.
I'll fight them like Thor.
Bergeron to the net, chase, bumped down by Ehrhoff, score! And rolled in. Bergeron gets it short-handed.
I'm glad I brought my insurance card and extra medication.
Plays it across to Daniel, backhander, save Thomas, and he reached behind him with a glove to make sure he had it.
Tim Thomas is your daddy.
Marchand, a wrist shot, and he scores! Around the net, wrap around, close puck, score! And a 4-0 lead for the Bruins with 2:44 left.
We want the cup.
Get the duck boats ready. After 39 long years, the cup is back home. The Bruins are 2011 Stanley Cup champions. Stanley Cup champions. Stanley Cup champions.
It's surreal what's happening right now. I can't believe that we won and it's over.
When you can go out on top like this and finish your career with a group of guys like this and how committed we were all year, it's unbelievable.
It's been a dream come true. It was an awesome year. It doesn't get any better, right? Look where we are. Yeah, suck it, Felger. I guess we're not that bad after all, huh?
Let's go Bruins! Let's go Bruins! Let's go Bruins! Let's go Bruins!
Do you think those fireworks right now are for the Boston Bruins?
No, they're for the Red Sox.
What the do you think? Are you here? Are you at the game? What's going on here?
I will you all in succession
She's
for
hot.
the Stanley Cup.
Tim Thomas is your daddy.
We want the cup! We want the cup! We want the cup! Hockey!
Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everybody.
And a good
Wow.
one it is. Did that really just happen last night?
Well, apparently it did because you're already wearing these Stanley Cup champions t-shirts.
I am, but it still doesn't seem real.
The Eagle just decided to come decked out in Bruins gear today.
Dude, I went down from my apartment, which sounded like Lebanon outside. And I went outside, and there were these two guys already wearing Stanley Cup champion shirts. And I said, "Where'd you get those?" And they didn't speak English, and then they pulled out of their backpack about 10 of them for sale.
You should have snagged one.
I wasn't quite sure whether that champions was spelled correctly.
Oh, okay.
Nonetheless, this guy made a little bit of money last night.
Your Boston Bruins are Stanley Cup champions. The drought is over. This team, in the end, did not disappoint.
Can you believe it, man? What a way to win it. What a way to win it.
And then Vancouver, who was so concerned about everything that was going on, decides to riot, as we said they would.
And rip their city apart.
I knew they were going to riot. I said it, and if you want to pull the audio, I said it maybe 10 times yesterday that they were going to riot.
I haven't seen a riot.
Win or lose.
I haven't seen a riot that bad in Vancouver since Axl Rose decided not to show up on stage.
and freaking Metallica tried to be the heroes, and then all of a sudden they flipped.
That was in Vancouver?
Yeah, I believe it was. I actually looked it up last night because I thought it was Montreal at first. Like, oh boy, all these Canadian cities are crazy about the rioting, and then no. Vancouver, 94, didn't they also do the same thing?
94. But there's an excuse for that. I mean, if you're waiting for Guns N' Roses, you gotta, be mad. Mad Sorum. When are you going to see him play drums? But I'm very lucky that DA did not take my call last night. When he
did
was
you try calling in?
I called in, but he was still on with Gosher. I was in the back of the cab.
Dude, he had full phone lines all night. All night. I got in, and I'm like, dude, you got full phone lines at like 3 in the morning. We leave, he's got full phone lines at 6.
That's nothing to do with his talent.
That's a great thing about this city. And I was lucky enough to do shows all night when the Red Sox won in 04 and 07.
Well, that's because you were the last on the bench, and they would just throw you in there.
I know. God bless me, because it was so much fun, and there were full phone lines from minute 1 to the last minute each time. It was unbelievable. So it doesn't surprise me at all. Fans in the city are tremendous.
All right. Let's get going here. You're the first caller today, brought to you by Mohegan Sun. Among life's millions of moments, some of the very best are made by Mohegan Sun. Create your moment at MoheganSun.com. Mohegan Sun, time to shine. Hello!
You make me feel so single. Celebrate me! That was my Red Sox, drug break on drink camp. Awesome. Beach sickness. I loved every second of it. I sat on hold for I don't know how long with DA there, and they got me on, and then they kicked me off until they called you back. So I called you guys back, and you guys are the best show in the world. I love it. Best show in the world. And hey, quick question. How do I sober up the next 2 hours so I can go to work?
You don't, dude.
You take an orange. Here's what you do. You take an orange.
Literally, I need to make
all right, you're not going to listen. You take an orange, and you take a hypodermic needle, and you take vodka, and you put it in the hypodermic needle, and then you shoot it into the orange. And then you go to work. And people go, what are you doing? You go, I just love oranges. They're none the wiser. That's what you do.
That was one big run-on sentence. And we're off and running.
That is what you do.
3 Game 7s. I'm going to have Mike still pull the audio of us after we're down 0-2.
Did you understand my text message last night?
I did, and we're getting that together. I mean, there's so much stuff going on this morning that we will get to that.
I mean, I wanted him to pull, Andrew Alberts from our first time here.
Yeah. I don't want to put anyone to sleep.
No, but just to a historical record.
No, it was great.
Of our Bruins coverage.
Yeah. And that was when people were specifically told, it was like a rule, you don't talk hockey on the radio because people will tune out. But, we've always been a show that talks about things that we enjoy. We usually don't talk about Rush albums either, but God, we freaking like Rush albums, so we'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, speaking of Rush albums, I was at a bar last night that this DJ thought he was something else. He played the Final Countdown instead of putting the audio of the of in between the intermissions.
Like Milbury and oh man, yeah, that's no good.
The Final Countdown, really?
By the way,
I don't know how hard it is to get through your brain that people are at this bar to watch this hockey game.
Right, that this is the biggest thing.
And then everyone there was despicable. I mean, it was an awful experience.
You weren't downtown, right? You were out in the suburbs.
No, I was out in the suburbs. It was by your nest.
Greatest bar, the report was at capacity by 4 p.m.
I was watching the news at 5 o'clock, and they obviously had put people in front of the Garden, and they were saying all the bars up and down Canal Street, all the bars up and down Canal Friend and Porter, all had lines at 5 o'clock to get in.
I was told that also, no TV cameras were allowed inside of any of the bars.
Right.
That area by the Garden, by the way, if you saw it on television, I mean, the riot gear was out. I mean, they had the shields and everything, and they cleared that place out quick.
Less than an hour.
So much for the argument that, hey, Vancouver gets to have an outdoor viewing party.
Yeah, well, that's a bunch of... it got so bad in Vancouver that they put out a statement to the police to say, leave the area for police safety.
By the way, they shut the train system down there. So those hippies, hippies are so entitled, and that's what they do when they feel like they've been wrong.
They burn things.
Yeah.
Flip over
They
cars.
destroyed 2 police cars.
Because they're mad that their team lost, so they and they feel that it's unjust because they're spoiled hippies. Keith, go ahead.
How you doing? Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
What a wonderful morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, baby.
Listen, I just want to say Tim Thomas had the greatest single season as a professional goalie in probably world history when you think about it.
You can make that argument because he had the best goals against average.
Best save percentage.
Oh, save percentage, I'm sorry. Best save percentage of all time.
And then he collects the hardware. He's going to get the Vezina. That's easy. Conn Smythe and a Stanley Cup, and probably the best performance by a goalie in a 7-game Stanley Cup series ever.
He'd be the first guy to get that trifecta since 75. And who was it?
Bernie Parent.
Is that who it is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's right. That's right. Because I actually tweeted that last night, and Hags had it. Yeah,
Bernie Parent. And 246 shots on net against Thomas in this series. 238 saves.
And think about it.
Save percentage of .967.
Think back to October. He wasn't even your number one goalie this year at the beginning of the year.
And by the way, congratulations to Vancouver for quitting, first of all, the entire third period. And congratulations on Cheap Shot, on Chara, and the way that you play hockey.
It wasn't just that, Fred. I mean, you saw the first 4 or 5 minutes look like game one. I mean, they were buzzing all up. Vancouver was buzzing all over the place.
I thought for sure the Bruins were going to lose.
Couldn't get the puck out of their own end.
And you did too.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And then Bergeron scored, and that was it. They didn't have anything remotely like that flurry the rest of the game.
Well, yeah, that's very true. But I've never seen anything like that third period. I mean, Vancouver just did not try.
In front of their own home fans, that was shameful. And
I mean, because that's a team that's capable of scoring 3 goals in a period, and they just didn't try. I mean, that third period was awful. I mean, it was great, but it was awful.
I think they just couldn't believe it.
I mean, you better believe that you can get 3 goals.
You're down 3-0 on your own home ice. I mean, give it a shot. And Fred's right.
Happens all the time.
In 82 games, had a plus 77 goals against. I mean, this is a team capable of putting points on the board quickly. But I was just amazed that with all that offensive firepower up front, and I understand Kessler played most of the series hurt, but, I mean, all that offensive firepower, they could not do anything.
You know, we joke
after
about
the first 5-6 minutes.
You get all stressed out and you got to clench. Were you stressed at all in that third period? No, none.
No.
Nothing.
After they made that, the shorthanded goal,
right?
You know, you pop.
But they
up
were
a
also
beer
on
and you're
3-0
like,
at that point.
Well,
no, but you'd still be very nervous about 3-0 because Vancouver is capable of scoring 5 goals in a period.
But it's 2-0, and Vancouver has a power play, and you're like, all right. I mean, they're long overdue. And then Bergeron scores the shorthanded goal, and that was it. I sat back on my couch. I'm like, okay, great. Game's over.
Because they didn't do anything. What a terrible organization. What a terrible team. What a terrible city.
What a terrible culture. I mean, it's a culture of whining. It's a culture of cheap shots. And it seems that anybody who goes into that organization who had a little bit of integrity ends up being stained by it.
Who was the guy who cheap shot at Ferentz? At center ice there?
Chara.
No, there was another one. There was another one where Ferentz got cheap shotted from behind.
I can't remember.
Cheap shot, I mean, it's good, and I tweeted this. It's good that Vancouver at least remain consistent. I mean, cheap shots when they're behind in Game 7 with no chance of winning. Good for you. Congratulations on a world stage, embarrassing yourself. Both in and out of the arena.
Just piles of garbage. In every interview I did over there, what about these Bruins fans? No.
Well, just look at how both fans handled last night. That's all you have to do.
Because they're entitled hippies.
I haven't heard of any major incidences. Now, there might have been. I haven't heard of any. And it'd probably be all over the news if there was.
I would believe that you would have heard of it.
But, we didn't